don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
I have no reason to.
You're familiar with the Fourth Amendment, by the way?
Vaguely.
Are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, great. Why do we always get the crazies?
They say no one is above the law, but what happens when those who enforce it are the ones who break it? Enter fearless lawyers ready to take on the toughest battles, exposing flaws, confronting corruption, and holding the powerful accountable. Today we bring you some of the sharpest legal minds as they dismantle the arguments of those sworn to uphold the law, revealing the truth and ensuring justice prevails. This is Lawyers Destroying Cops. So, let the battle for justice begin. So, let's start with the first case, which began quietly in a small part of town, but would soon set Cook County on fire. It was here that Samantha, the owner of the well-known YouTube channel Pink Camera Magic Media, found herself in an unexpected showdown with two police officers who seemed disturbingly unaware of the law they were meant to enforce. Yes, you heard that right, and this isn't just hearsay. We're about to prove every word of it in the courtroom. But before we get there, let's unravel the details of this case and understand how a simple act of filming turned into a full-blown legal battle. You might be asking yourself, how did a YouTuber end up challenging the very people entrusted with upholding the law? The answer lies in the power of knowledge, a tool that gives ordinary citizens the confidence to stand their ground. Samantha was out that day, simply capturing the grandeur of the courthouse on video. But what happened next would have serious implications.
Hey ma'am, you know this is a public building?
Exactly, that's why I'm recording
It's
it.
also a court facility,
Yep.
which there is a judicial law or judicial order that says that you cannot tape this building.
Can I see that order?
Yes, come on in. We're going to check your IDs too.
Oh, no, I'm not going in.
Oh yeah, no. We're going to run you too.
No, that's all
We're going
right.
to get your name. We're going to do a report and everything. So come on in.
No.
No, yeah, you're going to come in now.
Am I being detained?
Yes.
For what?
Because right now you are doing something suspicious.
That's not a reason to detain anybody.
Well, it is for Dana. Come on.
It's really not.
Let's go
So
inside
I'm just going
now.
to stay here and continue recording.
Okay. You're going to come in and we're going to find out who you are and what you're doing here.
No, you're not.
Okay. All right, who's got cuffs? She does not want to go agree.
It seemed like a routine moment, nothing out of the ordinary. But something in that scene made the officers believe that Samantha was breaking the law by recording. However, we'll soon find out that this belief was baseless. So, why did these officers think that filming a courthouse was illegal? Does the law itself support this assumption? Don't worry, we're about to answer these questions, but first let's return to the incident. As Samantha continued filming, she found herself suddenly and inexplicably detained. The officers claimed she was under suspicion, and if she refused to show her ID, she might even be handcuffed. But what was the basis for this suspicion? Here's an essential legal insight. Before a police officer can lawfully stop someone and demand identification, they must have a reasonable and articulable suspicion that a crime has occurred or is about to occur. This isn't just a guideline, it's a constitutional requirement that protects citizens from unwarranted stops and searches.
Before a police officer can properly stop a person and ask for identification, the officer must have a reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime has occurred.
So, what exactly led these officers to suspect Samantha? Let's examine the facts.
Hey ma'am, you know this is a public building?
Exactly, that's why I'm recording.
According to the law, taking photos and videos of things that are plainly visible in public spaces is a constitutional right. This right extends to public transportation, facilities, the exteriors of federal buildings, and yes, even police officers and other government officials performing their duties in public.
It is stated clearly that taking photographs and video of things that are plainly visible in public spaces is a constitutional right, and that includes transportation facilities, the outside of federal buildings, and police and other government officials carrying out their duties.
This means Samantha was well within her rights to record the courthouse, and there was no legal basis for her to be detained. Despite this, one of the officers attempted to forcibly take her camera, a clear violation of her rights.
I'm being detained for just taking pictures of the building.
Yes, ma'am. You're doing something suspicious and we need to know who you are and why you're doing it. Okay?
Are you familiar with the First Amendment?
Yes. I am.
Really?
Let's go in. Come on.
Wow.
I tried to do this nicely.
The situation escalated as the officers continued to demand that Samantha show her ID, but was this demand justified? Legally, officers can ask for identification only when there is a reasonable belief that a crime has been committed or when there is evidence of a crime present in the area being searched. Since Samantha's actions did not meet these criteria, she was not obligated to present her ID. Let's see what the sharp-minded lady's view was on the action taken by the cops.
Okay, call your lawyer.
That includes my camera as far as consent.
Well, it's already on.
Are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, great. Why do we always get the crazies?
I don't know. Did you delete my footage?
Do you want to cooperate or not?
Remaining silent.
This is your choice. You can either give us an ID so that we can do a report on this and find out who you are, or we're going to take you in front of the presiding judge. He's going to hold you in contempt, which means that he can hold you for as long as he wants.
Remaining silent.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to probably take her in front of the judge.
Okay.
He's going to hold her in contempt for, right now he's doing 90 days.
Okay.
So, is that okay with you?
Remaining silent.
Okay, but you realize you're going to go to Cook County Jail for 90 days.
Remaining silent.
Okay.
Okay.
You have an option. All you have to do is show us an ID so that we can do a report, and we'll let you go on your way.
I have an option?
Okay?
We told you that before.
Because right now you're just obstructing.
I'm in the elevator right now.
Obstructing what?
You're obstructing us from doing our job.
Remaining silent.
All right, cuff her. Let's get her purse.
Ken.
Get her stuff.
I don't consent to searches.
Well, we don't care.
When Samantha asked if her footage had been deleted, the officers chose to remain silent. Instead, they continued to pressure her for identification, threatening that she could be reported and even held in contempt of court for up to 90 days if she didn't comply. But Samantha knew her rights. Using her intellect and understanding of the law, she wisely chose to remain silent, exercising her right to do so. As the tension mounted, one of the officers, clearly frustrated, demanded to search her purse, another unlawful action. Eventually, the situation reached a boiling point. Samantha was arrested and handcuffed, setting the stage for a legal battle that would expose serious flaws in law enforcement practices. But don't worry, the story is far from over. Now we move to the courtroom, where a skilled lawyer confronts the officers who repeatedly violated the law, or more accurately, who seemed not to understand it at all. The lawyer's job is to prove these violations, and there's no doubt they'll succeed. Let's see how the courtroom drama unfolds.
What would you do if one of those people said to you, what's the difference between arrest and detain? What would your answer be?
Call legal.
Mr. Gorman, seated to your left?
No. Sheriff has their own legal.
Oh, okay. Their own legal who helps them understand things like the difference between arrest and detain?
Yes.
Gotcha. Was there a lawful basis to handcuff her?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that lawful basis?
Officer safety.
Are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment, by the way?
Vaguely.
What does it say in your own vague terms?
No illegal search and seizure.
All right, unless there's...
Probable cause.
Or...
That's about all I know.
Okay, all right, good enough. You said that's about all I know.
During the trial, one of the most shocking revelations was the officer's admission that he was only vaguely aware of the Fourth Amendment, a fundamental part of the U.S. Constitution that protects citizens from unreasonable searches and seizures. How can someone be entrusted with enforcing the law when they don't even fully understand its most basic principles? This isn't just an oversight, it's a glaring flaw in the system that puts everyone's rights at risk.
All right, now, there was somebody else who asked you the same question that I just asked you about your familiarity with the Fourth Amendment, who's in this room right now. Do you know who that person was? My client. Ms. asked you that, didn't she?
I don't recall.
She asked you, are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment? You don't remember that?
No.
Well, it's already on.
Are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, great. Why do we always get the crazies?
I don't know.
If I tell you that your answer was, oh great, why do we always get the crazies? Would you dispute that?
No.
Does that sound like something you would say to somebody?
That's something I did say that day, yes.
So you remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember saying that in response to the question, are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment?
No, I just remember saying it.
Why is it that you felt she was one of the crazies?
When people act in a way that is not in their best interest.
How is she acting that was not in her best interest?
Well, at any time, all she had to do was identify herself. We could have done our report and everything could have gone the own.
Is there a law that requires people to identify themselves when requested by law enforcement?
I don't know.
Have you ever read anybody the Miranda rights?
No.
You've never read anybody their Miranda rights?
And it gets worse. In a moment that left everyone in the courtroom stunned, the officer revealed his ignorance of Miranda rights, perhaps the most well-known legal protection in the United States. For those unfamiliar, Miranda rights are a crucial part of the justice system. They serve as a warning given by police to inform suspects of their rights, including the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. Anything said during questioning can be used against the suspect in court. This warning isn't meant to protect individuals from self-incrimination and ensure they have access to legal counsel. With this fundamental knowledge lacking, we're left to wonder how many other rights have been compromised by similar ignorance. But before we dwell too long on that, let's see how Officer Jennifer Larson fares when questioned about the law.
Is it against the law to take pictures of a courthouse from outside?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Is it lawful to arrest somebody for taking pictures outside of the courthouse,
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Are you familiar with this case at all?
Which case?
The case that brings us here today, that you're testifying in?
Yes.
Okay, and in a nutshell, what's the case about?
I would say that Amanda is, I guess I called you to say that she was outside videoing when she shouldn't have been. So she's saying we violated her amendment rights.
You're correct. When you say when she shouldn't have been, what does that mean? Was she doing something wrong?
Just something unusual, what us as officers would consider unusual.
In order to detain somebody, what do you have to have legally? Do you know?
I do not know the law legally.
Police officer goes over to somebody on the street. Let's call the person Mr. Plaintiff.
Okay.
Police officer goes to Mr. Plaintiff and says, hey, let me see your ID. And Mr. Plaintiff says, no. Is the officer now allowed to put Mr. Plaintiff in handcuffs and detain him?
I do believe, yes, for officer safety, they do have the right.
Doesn't there have to be reasonable suspicion that the person committed a criminal offense or violated a law?
Because I don't know the law.
It was almost painful to watch as Officer Larson struggled to recall the details of the case. It was clear that she wasn't just unsure, she was completely unprepared. How can someone who doesn't understand the law be expected to enforce it effectively? This isn't just an individual failing, it's indicative of a much larger problem, and it doesn't end there. As the trial continued, more shocking revelations came to light.
You just said that he asked you for the memory card because he wanted to delete the pictures. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. And if he were to testify at some point in time that he absolutely, categorically did not delete those pictures, then would you want to change your answer as to whether you or one of your people did?
I'm going to object. Calls for speculation.
No one had custody of the camera but me.
Okay. Would it have been lawful for you to delete her pictures?
I don't know.
What do you think? Are you allowed to go over to people's pictures and delete them?
No.
Without a court order?
No.
All right. That would be a violation of which amendment, do you know? What do you do if somebody says they want to talk to a lawyer and you have them in handcuffs?
We allow them to call a lawyer.
Do you keep asking them questions?
It depends on the case.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Tell me the case in which you would continue to ask questions of somebody in custody after they ask for a lawyer.
If we're doing an investigation, we're going to ask.
I got you. Okay. Do you know which amendment it is that allows people to demand a lawyer? Do you have any idea?
No.
When you arrest somebody, do you have to advise them that they have the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Do you have to advise them that they have the right to an attorney?
Yes.
Do you have to advise them that if they cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to them?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if somebody says, yes, I want to talk to an attorney? Do you get to keep asking them questions? Or do you have to call a lawyer for them before you want to ask any more questions?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know if you're allowed to keep asking questions of somebody in custody after they ask for a lawyer?
No.
How long have you been employed at Cook County Sheriff's?
27 years.
27 years. I imagine you only became a lieutenant recently?
No.
How long ago did you become a lieutenant?
22 years ago.
You've been a lieutenant for 22 years and you don't know the Miranda rights?
The legal battle exposed a staggering truth. Despite being a lieutenant for 22 years and serving on the force for 27, this officer was shockingly ignorant of the very laws he was supposed to enforce. Samantha's case revealed an alarming level of incompetence within the law enforcement, raising serious questions about how well officers are trained and whether they truly understand the rights they are sworn to protect. The case is a stark reminder for all citizens. We cannot afford to be complacent when it comes to our rights. The responsibility to know and protect our rights ultimately falls on us. After witnessing this, it's clear that we cannot solely rely on law enforcement to protect our rights, especially when those in power may not fully understand them themselves. Let's move on to our next case, where attorney Robert, while riding as a passenger, was asked to identify himself by officers conducting an immigration check. But Mr. Robert, firm in his understanding of his legal rights, politely refused their request. What did he do next? Let's find out.
How are we doing today?
Good.
This gentleman decided that he doesn't want us to answer if he's a U.S. citizen or not, and that we don't have probable cause. Which one?
Me.
Got you?
Yes.
So you do understand the purpose of an immigration checkpoint, correct?
I sure do.
Okay.
Well, do you have reasonable suspicion that I've committed a crime?
No, I don't, but what I do have is the right to question you. According to the United States versus Martinez Fuerte, I can't keep you here until I'm satisfied that you're a United States citizen. Do you understand that?
Well, no, I haven't committed any crime. You have
I
no
understand
probable
that,
cause.
but I'm not asking you if you committed a crime. I'm asking you if you're a United States citizen.
I don't have to answer that.
Actually, you do, sir.
Really?
And I can't keep you here until I'm satisfied.
Really?
Yes. And let me tell you this right now, okay? Since you're the driver of the vehicle, what you are doing is blocking traffic.
I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Okay, so can you pull over there to second there for me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, Mr. Robert and his investigator, Jess Torres, were traveling to Nogales to interview Homeland Security officers about a major drug case. On their way back to Phoenix, they encountered a permanent Border Patrol checkpoint. Though they weren't crossing into Mexico, they were subjected to inspection. Mr. Robert invoked the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which states no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. While such rights are often limited at borders, Mr. Robert stood his ground. Back at the scene, the officer recognized that the passenger was an attorney and called his supervisor to review the situation.
Hello? Are you a citizen? I don't have to answer that question, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen? Yeah. And how are you guys related?
I'm not going to answer your question. Do you
Why not?
have probable cause that I'm committed a crime and done something illegal?
No, I don't.
Then I should be allowed to go on my way.
That's probable cause has nothing to do with what
Well, do you have reasonable suspicion I've committed a crime?
You don't need reasonable suspicion for immigration
Do you
inspection.
think you have reasonable suspicion that I'm not a U.S. citizen?
We don't need reasonable suspicion
Okay, then why am I being detained?
because we're conducting an immigration inspection.
Really? You have a right to ask me if I'm a U.S. citizen. I have a right to say I don't want to answer that.
That's true.
So you have no other cause to hold me.
Well, we do have other causes because if we're still suspicious that you might be hiding the fact that you're illegal.
Really? You really think I'm illegal? You think
I'm
you have
trying to
reasonable
determine
suspicion?
that. I'm trying to determine that. That's why I'm asking you questions.
How are you going to determine that?
By asking you questions, figuring out, just basic information.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born, sir?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, so the only thing you're doing right now is prolonging your stay here.
Well, you know what? The Constitution allows me not to answer questions, sir.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue. But
I'd like to know what lawful authority you have to keep me here right now. I'm being detained. I'm not being allowed to go on my way.
Right. You are being detained until we determine whether we're satisfied with our immigration inspection.
Well, do what you need to do.
I'm doing it. I'm going to need you to step out.
The officer, not denying Mr. Roberts' constitutional rights, acknowledged them respectfully. However, he argued that it was his duty to check for immigrants, and for that reason the lawyer was being detained. Hearing the word detention, Mr. Roberts grew agitated and was asked to step out of the vehicle. Watch closely as the officers begin to overstep their bounds.
Answering that question, sir.
You don't need to stay in the vehicle.
He ordered me out.
ordered him out. My apologies. My apologies. Do you have any weapons or anything?
I'm not going to answer that.
So you... All right, go ahead and walk over.
Am I under arrest? Am I being detained?
Yes. You're being detained. You're not under arrest.
Although Mr. Robert was not under arrest, he was being detained. Now it was his turn to flip the script. Since the officers had no probable cause, he threatened to file a complaint. What happens next? Let's see.
And who is the officer in charge here? Myself. Okay, and how do I formally file a complaint?
File a complaint about what, sir? That you refuse to answer questions related to the immigration process, which this is an immigration checkpoint.
I'm going to be polite, officer. I am just asking a simple question. To whom do I file a complaint?
I can get you a complaint form that you're more than welcome to fill out and send in.
I would like that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You can go ahead and get back to your vehicle and I'll get you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Hold on, they're getting me a complaint form.
There's the seat. I got one of those beautiful fucking skirts.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you very much.
You have a good day.
You too.
All right.
And this is how he exercised his rights. The best part, he asserted his rights while maintaining respect for their authority, a testament to his commendable character and sharp intellect. This next case centers on Emmanuel Olawale, an attorney from Westerville who found himself in a surprising encounter with the police while disposing of trash in a bin he owns, or at least claims to own. He lives in the area and pays for the service, which seems to establish his right to use the bin. But why then did the cops suspect him? Let's dive into how he defended his rights in the face of police scrutiny.
Alright. Huh? I'll show you my ID. If you don't mind. Just so, yeah, if you don't mind. Can we see your ID? Yeah. Pretty cool. Well, that is pretty cool. That's a slick business card. Yep. Alright. I'll give it to him. You can keep doing what you're doing. We're just, again, we're kind of concerned. Yeah. Seeing somebody dump a bunch of stuff there. So. Okay.
Yeah. Just don't run it. Don't run my card. Don't run my ID.
Huh?
Don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
You have no reason to.
Olawale approached the situation with remarkable humility when the officers asked for his ID. Unlike other cases where tensions quickly escalate, he willingly shared his identification. However, the officers soon crossed a line by running his ID without any valid reason, an act that clearly overstepped their bounds. But how did this attorney, well versed in the law, respond to this breach of his rights?
At least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope. I'm on my property, putting trash in mine.
Okay, but this is not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So don't
no one said that you're violating any law.
No. Don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identify myself so that this won't escalate.
That's fine. But we can still mark down who we're out with. And so that's what we're going to do.
No.
Yes.
You didn't stop me. Don't turn this into an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
Yeah.
So he's just going to write it down on a piece of paper.
It's just your name.
Why?
Because, sir, we are out with you because we were concerned that you were illegally dumping.
But you've already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It belongs to me.
To you and you alone?
Yes.
Can you prove that dumpster belongs to you and you alone?
Did you notice how Olawale calmly asserted his knowledge of the law, reminding the officers that he is in fact a lawyer? The real question is, why were these cops questioning him about illegal dumping in the first place? He owns property in the area, which gives him the right to use the bin. This should have been obvious. The suspicion becomes even more questionable considering there was no complaint, no disturbance, nothing to justify such scrutiny. So, was he really eligible to be suspected?
If it's also other units...
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the units.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID. Thank you.
Olawale stood his ground, defending his right with courage and composure, forcing the officers to return his ID. This incident raises uncomfortable questions about whether racial profiling played a role in why he was targeted. If so, it's a stark reminder of the unlawful biases that can still permeate law enforcement. What do you think of the situation? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. Whether you're an attorney or an everyday citizen, understanding the law and exercising your rights can make all the difference. It's not about defying authority, but about ensuring that justice is upheld and that the law is applied fairly. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life legal battles. Stay informed, stay empowered, and remember, justice is everyone's right.